channel. Today I'll be making French Vanilla Macarons. I hope you enjoy.
This recipe will be making 7 macaron cookies, and you will need 3/4 cup powdered sugar, half a cup of almond flour grounded, a pinch of salt, 1/4 teaspoon vanilla extract, 2 eggs at room temperature. You'll later be using their egg whites, around 1 1/2, 1/8 cup of granulated sugar, and if you'd like, you can add food coloring. For the filling, which is buttercream in your macarons, you'll need 1 1/2 cups powdered sugar, 1/4 teaspoon vanilla extract, 1 1/2 tablespoons of heavy cream, and 1 stick of butter at room temperature. Now we will be mixing all of our dry ingredients together. I definitely recommend you use a sifter at this point, or you could also use a food processor. We just really want those dry ingredients to be very fine. You will need the powdered sugar, your almond flour, and your salt. As you guys can see, I'm right now using a whisk to push through my dry ingredients through the sifter. I definitely recommend doing this because it'll just make your job a lot easier and it'll go by a lot quicker. Once you are done, as you can see, you'll be left with a lot of big pieces and chunks, which you do not want in your macarons. Okay, now that we have mixed all our dry ingredients together, we can go ahead and set that aside and grab another bowl, our 2 eggs, which are at room temperature, and a cup. Now we are going to be separating the egg yolks and egg whites by just cracking the egg and splitting it into 2 and letting the egg white jiggle off. And you're just going to be switching the egg yolk into each half of your shell, letting all the egg white fall off. Keep in mind that for your second egg, try and only use half your egg white. Now that we have separated our egg yolks and egg whites, as you can see, I still have some egg white left in here because we're only using around 1 1/2 egg whites. But I'm just going to go ahead and set those 2 things aside and grab a stand or hand mixer and make sure you have the whisk attachment on it. It'll make your eggs frothy, which is what you're looking for. Once your egg whites look like they're frothy, they should look like this. You are slowly going to add in your 1/8 cup of granulated sugar into your egg whites until stiff peaks form. This is what your meringue should look like now. A way to check that if you have stiff peaks, this is a bit risky, but you should be able to flip it over your head without falling. Another way you can check is just by making a figure 8, and if it stays its shape, that means it's ready. But you're just now going to add in your 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla extract, along with food coloring if you would like. I'm just using pink. Once that all is combined, you can go ahead and add in your dry ingredients. You're going to be adding them a third at a time. So as you can tell, I'm just adding a third of this. And then you're going to be setting aside your mixer and not use it anymore. You are actually now going to be using a spatula, and you are going to be folding your dry ingredients into your meringue. Once you have combined your dry ingredients well into your meringue, this is how your macaron batter should look. You are going to prepare your piping bag. So this is the brand that I am using. And what you'll need is a tall glass and obviously a piping bag. If you don't have one, then you can always use a Ziploc bag, that will also work. But what you're going to do is you're just going to cut off the corner of your piping bag. And then place it inside your cup. You can put your hand inside it, push it in, and then you're going to go ahead and fold over the edges of your piping bag around the tall cup and just open some room inside there. Now this is the time lapse of me placing my macaron batter inside my piping bag. Once that is done, as you can see, I have lined parchment paper on a pan. I did little circles as a template. They're going to be about 3.5 centimeters the circle size and around 2 centimeters apart from each other. But now, as you can tell, I'm trying to take some of the excess from my bowl of the batter. I'm just going to stick down the corners of our parchment paper onto the pan. This will make it not move around when you are piping your macarons. Now we will be piping our macarons. As you can see, I'm just using my middle, fourth, and pinky to press on the bag, and then my pointer and thumb just to close the top so it doesn't seep through. But I'm going to try and use the template as best as I can. I actually recommend using a template because you want all of them to be around the same size, because when you're later matching the tops of the cookies to another one, you want them to be the same size rather than a small one and a big one. It just won't look as pretty, and it'll be a bit harder to glue together later on. Warning, the next step will be loud. You'll be hitting your tray on top of the counter to let all the air bubbles come out. This will be about 5 to 10 times. Then after this, you'll be letting your macarons sit out for from 30 minutes to an hour so that they form a thin shell over them. Now we will be making our buttercream filling. I am using this paddle attachment on my mixer. I'm using 1 stick of room temperature butter. And I'll just be creaming this until it is light and fluffy. This will take about 1 to 2 minutes. As you can see here, the butter began to get stuck into my paddle attachment, so I just used a small spatula to push it out. as you guys can see, now my butter is nicely creamed, so I will slowly add my 1/2 cup of powdered sugar with a sifter into my butter until it is well combined. I began using a whisker because tapping it was just taking a long time. Now that my powdered sugar and butter are creamed together nicely, I will go ahead and add a little less than 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla extract. In my opinion, I don't like it too much of vanilla flavor, but it's your guys' choice. Then I will go ahead and add my 1½ tablespoons of heavy cream and begin mixing on a medium speed. This is how the final product of your buttercream should look like. It should be a nice creamy texture. Now we will be preparing our buttercream piping bag, and I'm just going to grab a spoon, another piping bag, along with a pair of scissors to cut off the tip. And then I will go ahead and scoop in my buttercream into my piping bag. My macaron cookies have now been sitting for exactly 1 hour, and the way that I check if they're ready is by brushing my finger on top of one of the macarons, and if nothing comes up, that means they're ready, but you have to do it very gently. Now I am placing my macarons into my oven, which is preheated to 275 degrees, and we'll be letting them sit for exactly 17 minutes. Here's the time lapse of my macaron cookies in the oven. This is me taking out my macarons from the oven after exactly 17 minutes. Okay guys, so my macaron cookies are finally done, and I've been letting them sit for 10 to 15 minutes to cool off. Now they can easily be removed from parchment paper. They should have this thing called frit. Here's a quick close-up, which makes the inside of the macaron very chewy and on the outside very crispy. This is a time-lapse of me removing each macaron cookie from the parchment paper to make sure that they didn't stick. Okay guys, so now I'm just matching my macaron cookies together shape-wise, just seeing which ones fit the best together. Keep in mind you will have one extra macaron cookie, but that is later on if you by accident break a cookie when you're icing the middle. Okay, now that I have matched my macaron cookies, yes, I will have one extra, but that is for later if I break one by accident. I'm going to go ahead and begin icing with my buttercream. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my piping bag with my buttercream frosting inside of it, and grab one of these matches and begin doing just a little dollop of buttercream in the middle. Do not spread it around. You will see later on, but you can put as much as you guys want. My family doesn't like as much buttercream, that's why I'm only putting just a little. But now you're gonna grab the top and place it on top of your meringue cookie, and it should match well and spread out the buttercream like this. Now just continue doing that until you have finished icing all of them. There it is. Look at that, you guys. Look how beautiful these look. I'm gonna go ahead and try one. Really good. Chewy on the inside and crispy on the outside, and I love the filling with it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and sometime try out my recipe. This one is a little more complex compared to my last recipe, but the final product is delicious. If you want to support my channel, please like, subscribe, or share this video with your friends and family, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you. Bye.